Hello everyone, and welcome to another video featuring the one and only 64 Beastie Man, aka the guy who has an irregular upload schedule, much like insert other commentator here. Anyways, it's good to see everyone again, and boy do I have a doozy for everyone today. Another commentary.
Boo! You suck. I want a refund.
Okay, first of all, rude. Second of all, it's on a fairly new commentator covering a near 6-year-old video.
Still doesn't sound like much of a doozy to me.
Look, if it'll get you to stay, then there's gonna be clips of Star Wars later on in the video.
Oh shit, Star Wars? Well, I don't want to miss that.
I figured that would get him staying. Anyways, to fill everyone in on the context, in 2015, a popular channel named Dorkly made a video in a sub-series of videos that they do titled Today in Nerd History, looking at 5 of the most baffling uses of CGI in movies. Cut to 2021, and a commentator by the name of CarmenRider decided to respond to that video. Though if I can nitpick the title of it before starting, what does being unfunny inherently have to do with supposedly not understanding the CGI brought up in Dorkly's video? Well, anyways, I gave Carmen's video a watch and yeah, this video exists, so you know the drill. Let's dive right into this shit. Now roll that intro.
Did you two let this happen? How the fuck did you let Jeffrey Epstein, of all people, into the fucking server? Were you not checking names? Did you not see who you approved before you let them in? Which just goes to show how badly you did your jobs. You let the ghost of a pedophile in my fucking server. Get out!
Alright, so there are two problems with this opening skit here. First of all, these two. Virgo and Libra, were they? I mean, you don't exactly say their names in the skit, and the only reason I know who these two are is because I did a bit of digging around on your channel and watching snippets of some of your other videos. Which leads me to my first point. You really should better introduce these characters to people who are new to your channel via this video and haven't met them yet. A good way of doing so, if you don't want to say their names every video, is to put their names above their text boxes so that the audience can have a clear idea who these characters are. Second of all, what's the point of this intro skit? It's not like it connects to the video you're covering in any way. All it amounts to is,
oh, you guys let a fucking pedophile's ghost enter the server? That does it. I'm kicking you out of my room as punishment for your poor Discord moderating.
Maybe if it was reworked to have it tie into your intro, it could work. For instance, you could have Libra walk out of the room all dejected, and as she walks out, your OC could notice something falling out from her pocket and discover the video you're covering, thus giving it a watch and deciding to do a commentary on it. At least then it wouldn't feel out of place in the video.
It's there for nothing!
Today in Nerd History!
Bad news, guys. The war is over and CGI won. The days of cool Ray Harryhausen stop motion, Toho city stomping, Lucas miniature exploding practical effects are unfortunately over.
Actually, no. You're just not looking in the right places. If you want more practical effects, go watch Tokusatsu.
Okay, I might give it a watch, but just to be on the safe side, could you fill me in on what practical effects I should look out for when watching? I mean, you have knowledge enough on Tokusatsu to know how good the practical effects are, so...
Actually, don't. The last thing we need is more normies.
Oh god damn it, why do I always have to get cock-blocked out of information that would potentially help an argument?
Do you want therapy for that? 'Cause I know someone who can help you out.
No. I think I can handle it.
Fortunately over. And while an occasional amazing practical heavy movie comes along like Mad Max Fury Road, nothing will change producers' mind that CG is the way to go, even for times where it doesn't even make sense. This isn't about good CGI versus bad CGI, no. This is about 5 baffling uses of CGI in movies. What?
CGI is like makeup. The best kind of it is when it looks like it's not there. So wouldn't it being baffling be a good thing?
That would be the case if Mr. Wilson specified that the baffling CGI made him laugh during the movies he mentions in this list, but he doesn't and instead specifies that these are 5 times in which it doesn't make sense to use CGI in these movies. And if you understand the definition behind the word baffling, then you know that in these instances, Tony is really confused as to why the CGI was used to begin with, thus indicating that this is a bad thing.
Shark, Pog.
Book. Number 3, nudity. Thanks to our new and terrible digital age, we now have a bizarre half measure when actors don't want to do nudity.
You're not funny. You know, you'd think a member of Dorkly would know how a fucking joke works, but I guess not.
Okay, so can I just bring up the phrasing of "you're not funny" for a second here? Because in multiple instances throughout this video, CarmenRider gets on to Tony Wilson's case for this. In most instances, I don't have a problem with it, but here, I don't know. Was he really trying to be funny? Sure, you could bring up how he used his green screen suit to exaggerate how ridiculous CGI in a nude body can be, but he's more so using it as an example to showcase the awkward process of doing so. Even using machete after you cut back in, and the 2011 movie The Change Up later on to further prove his point.
Let's do hide and seek! Come find me!
2011 movie The Change Up, which for some reason billed itself as a comedy, also tried to trick you into thinking that you saw its 2 female leads in the butt.
You're not funny.
Both Olivia Wilde and Leslie Mann covered their bits with pasties that were painted out in post. Leslie Mann reportedly even requested that they size up her goods in the editing room.
Yeah? Who doesn't want to look presentable?
Okay, first of all, this is a really subjective point as not everybody would want to see a woman with sized up boobs. And secondly, this is a useless interjection which doesn't really add much to the video. I might be inclined to believe that this is a throwaway joke if the tone indicated it as being such, but with the phrasing used here, as well as the expression your character has, I'm kinda led to believe otherwise.
You sure you don't want that therapy session?
No, trust me, I'm fine.
If only they could have airbrushed some jokes into the movie, then we'd be getting somewhere.
You're not much better either.
Yo, nice cut, Carmen. Nice fucking cut.
Oh, one tap. Oh, one tap's gonna kill me! I'm fucking legging it.
I feel like a bit of context is in order here. So in the part I'm skipping, Tony Wilson brings up how the shotguns in E.T. were digitally switched out for walkie-talkies in the special edition for the sake of censorship. And Carmen brings up a decent argument about how it's due to the ratings board wanting to keep it PG. Keep this in mind for the upcoming segment here.
The same thing happened to Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, but this time there wasn't even any perceived child endangerment. All it took was someone looking at this Nazi butthole flying off a cliff and deciding that this matte painting wasn't good enough for the HD broadcast version. So someone whipped up a weird computer-generated cliff face. Spielberg relented yet again in this case, and the Blu-ray release reverted back to the original shot.
You're not funny.
So instead of talking about the Indiana Jones censorship like he did when Tony brought up the CGI censorship for E.T., you let that segment play out before once again getting onto his case for not being funny with his own use of CGI? I'm sorry, why did you leave this part of the video in when you aren't even going to argue the main meat of it, that being the censor? Honestly, I'd be fine with you repeating your earlier point about the ratings board again to tackle his critique of the Indiana Jones censor.
Also, that was done for the sake of ratings, since nowadays a PG rating means nothing anymore.
At least then it wouldn't feel like unnecessary padding.
Hey, where's the Star Wars clip? This is a ripoff.
Whoa there, calm down. We're about to get to that.
Yes! Number 1, the pear! Oh my god, the pear from episode 2.
Episode 2? Aw, man. Here, I thought it was gonna be episode 5.
Hey, you wanted the Star Wars clips. Here's the Star Wars clips. Also discounting how we already saw Star Wars clips earlier on in the video from episode 4, but what the fuck ever.
I demand compensation after this is over.
How about a personal therapy session?
Does that mean I could get someone some help?
Look, you can't blame George Lucas for wanting to use CGI to realize exotic alien races and fantastical landscapes and exciting space battles. No, The real crime here is Padme.
Oh joy, prequel hate. How naive we were back then.
First of all, what exactly is the problem with hating the prequel films? You don't offer up any explanations as to why it's a bad thing or why it annoys you so much other than, oh, the sequel trilogy is much worse, which we'll touch on here in a bit. So we don't have much to go off of here, and it mostly comes off as just being upset at subjective opinions towards a movie trilogy you don't necessarily agree with. Second off, getting the said sequel trilogy, you're not slick sliding it onto the screen like that, CarmenRider. Even looking at the earliest movie in the trilogy, The Force Awakens, while true it did come out in 2015, if you take a second look at the release date of both the movie and the video you're covering, you'll realize that the Dorkly video came out 4 months before The Force Awakens came out, meaning that you're just throwing movies up on the screen that Tony and the rest of the Dorkly team wouldn't have seen before the time of the upload.
Pear. This pear doesn't exist. It's a computerized figment of a fruit, which should be made painfully obvious by the way it just slides onto the fork. And if that doesn't convince you, the bite Natalie Portman takes looks like a toddler trying ice cream.
Out of all the problems you found with the prequels at the time, you picked a fucking scene of them eating a pear. I didn't know CinemaSins ran Dorkly.
Look, I'll agree that this is ultimately rather nitpicky to bring up, but does that mean that this scene shouldn't be on the list? If it looks awkward and baffling to Tony, then it's something he can bring up. Now, I will give you credit in that you do refute him afterwards on his fix of having the team put the pear on a string, but to him, the CGI version still looks really weird, especially given the way it's placed onto the fork. Now, since the rest of the video is fine and there's not much to cover, it's time to move on
Hold up. I was promised a therapy session. I'm getting that session.
Fine. Hey Raven, get over here and hook CK up.
Awesome! You're going to love this therapist. They're really understanding and sweet, and they can help you out physically and mentally.
As long as they're not Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that works for me.
Well, anyways, time for final thoughts. Carmen, overall your video was okay, and I feel like you're well suited for arguing objective facts given the points brought up here. However, when we get into the subjective points of this video, I feel like they're pretty hit or miss. And I get it, we all have our subjective opinions on matters like this. That's fine. But what I would recommend, especially for the future, is to offer up a bit more explanation into the subjective points you make so we can better tell where you stand on opinions like the ones made here. Not much beyond that I would recommend, so hopefully this video can help somewhat. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and as always, this is 64 Beastie Man, beasting out.